thing is particle
Yes,
physics.
it is. Yes.
So how do you feel about the fact that's actually provably pseudoscience?
But they don't show that hydrogen has the same tone as carbon. What do you mean by tone?
The term information as an analogy, sure, you can find that absolutely all over the place. I've no issue with that. But like trying to quantify how much information is in organisms, that's a thing that I have personally never seen geneticists do. And I've read a
definition. It doesn't make sense because you're using Coriolis force whenever I'm arguing that it's up.
Tibet to learn the mystic art. Tibet, he went to go learn not mystic arts, but went to go learn spirituality.
He went to Tibet.
And mystic arts, yes, mystic arts, and then he went down into India.
Just kind of pseudoscientific and not really real at all, and we'll go over many of this stuff.
Particles are particles, and they hop from place to place with a particular probability. And the probability that a particle that's at some place.
When most people think of DNA, they think of life, not computers. But DNA is itself a four-letter code for passing along information about organisms.
After Watson and Crick, we know that genes themselves, within their minute internal structure, are long strings of pure digital information. What is more, they are truly digital.
Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of Monday Mythbusting. I'm your host Terry, and today we're doing an episode because my Twitter feed has been completely filled with flat earthers. That's right, yeah, they're still around, and they're resurging even more nowadays than ever before because of the internet and because of the echo chambers that they can create online to deny and disprove science in their own little worlds and completely ignore the rest of reality. So today that's what we're going to be talking about mainly, is flat earth. We'll be going over a couple of claims that the flat earthers make, a couple of realities that flat earth cannot address, as well as a follow-up video about gravity. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so the first topic I'd like to go over is the moon. Now, there are a lot of claims that flat earthers like to make about the moon and the sun and how they might be quote-unquote local, and they're not actually large balls of rock that are orbiting the earth due to gravity, because they don't believe in gravity. Instead, they believe that they're very, very close by and that they orbit around the equator, quote-unquote, along a flat disk. And this poses many problems, but I'd just like to make some observations myself about the moon that completely disprove this model. So the first of which is that the moon stays the exact same size no matter where you are on the Earth. No matter where you're standing on the surface of Earth, the moon is the same size in the sky. And it doesn't matter what time of day it is, what time of night it is, what time of the month it is, the moon was always the same size. Now, if the Earth were flat and the moon were orbiting along the equator and then it was local, if you were standing right underneath the moon, it would appear much larger than if you were standing, say, close to the North Pole or close to the South Pole. This is just because of the distance that is now put between you and the moon. But this is obviously not what we see. We always see that the moon is the same size. Now, secondly, we can always see the same side of the moon. Now, if the moon was close and was orbiting along a small circle like the flat earthers suggest, then we would obviously see more than one side of it every now and then, depending on where you are on the surface of the Earth. This is just not true. We know that the moon is tidally locked to Earth due to gravity, and that this is why we only see one side of the moon at any given time, no matter where you are on the surface of Earth. Third, it's obviously round. This is a basic observation that anyone can make. You don't even need a telescope. But if you do have a telescope, you can make out in exquisite detail that the moon is indeed a round rock in space that is orbiting around the Earth. This is a very basic observation that anyone can make, and there is no CGI trickery. It is simple observation. And fourth, eclipses. Eclipses completely disprove the flat Earth model, and here's why. In order to achieve the eclipse, both the moon and the sun have to be the same size relative to each other in the sky, and they have to be in alignment during any solar eclipse, so that their shadow, the shadow of the moon anyway, falls onto the surface of Earth. Now, if the moon and the sun are basically orbiting on the same plane, this is impossible. And not only that, we can also track the movement of the eclipse shadow on the surface of Earth and show that it is indeed curved, because the surface of Earth is curved. So the next basic observation that I'd like to make that completely disproves the flat Earth model is other planets. Obviously, if you have a telescope, you have probably looked at maybe the moon and other stars, but if you ever turned your telescope towards Mars, or Mercury, or Venus, or Jupiter, or Saturn, you would see that almost every single time that you point your telescope at an object in the sky, it's a sphere. And this completely doesn't make sense on the flat Earth model. Like, why would the Earth be flat and the rest of these objects be round? Especially when we know the reason why these other objects are round, due to gravity pulling all matter into the center of mass. Then why in the world would the Earth be flat? Now, the last topic I'd like to address is a little bit too large to address in just this one video, so I will be making a follow-up video to really get into the nitty-gritty details about how it works. However, the one thing that completely disproves the flat Earth model entirely is gravity. The force of gravity, which is due to mass being attracted to other mass, cannot be explained on a flat Earth. Now, many flat earthers like to throw out these, I would say, red herrings or science words that they don't know the meaning of, for lack of a better way of saying it. And they say, oh, it's the objects fall due to density and buoyancy and electrostatics. However, they're completely ignorant of the fact that density and buoyancy mean nothing without gravity, and that electrostatics have nothing to do with uncharged neutral bodies. And even if you want to go down that road, many different materials are paramagnetic, diamagnetic, so these different materials would fall at different rates if it really was electrostatics. But what we see, and have observed for a long time, is that all objects fall at the same rate in a vacuum. And this means that the force of gravity is the same for all objects on the surface of Earth. And this is because the mass of the Earth doesn't change depending on where you're standing. And this is due to the fact that the Earth is a sphere.
You have a backup experiment. You're seeing through this hole, through the next hole, and seeing the light at the backboard or at 17 feet off the water. The Earth is flat. If he's holding it up at 23 feet high and we're seeing the light, well, that's because the Earth's curved. So I should only be able to see it when it's at 17 feet. Okay, go ahead and drive down there, Enrique. You're going to hold the light there. Enrique, how high is your light?
17 feet.
I mean, it's as... we don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head. Interesting. Interesting, yeah.